Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us at the virtual Vision Finance conference. We are here with our panelists, and thank you very much for everyone to join us today. I think we'll have a really exciting panel talking about payments. We've got a group of payment experts here, and we will try to touch all the exciting topics as of today regarding the payment industry. So let's start with introducing our panelists. We can start with Tom. Tom Clementson is a London-based fintech retail and payment entrepreneur. Tom has worked at the Downing Street back in the day and the business department as a senior advisor on credit, consumer finance, and tech startup financing for the Prime Minister's enterprise advisor, Lord Young. In 2016, Tom was a founding partner of London-based ShieldPay and Latam-based AllPays, and he's an alumnus of Barclays, Techstars, PayPal, eBay, and JudoPay. Today, Tom is a group head of FinTech with Vacuumlabs, a FinTech development consultancy building awesome consumer and business solutions. So welcome, Tom.
Thank you.
We've got Anton Komukhin with us as well. Anton is Unlimint head of product with 13 years of experience in IT, where 5 of them are in FinTech. So he's got a lot of expertise as well. During this time, he has launched 2 of his own startups, developed and launched an innovative installment product, various mobile applications, website, and CRMs. He likes to think himself as one of the key figures who is responsible for moving the digital transformation of the company forward. He has been working in a Forex company as well, where he was leading the product development team. We have also Fliss Berridge with us. Fliss started out as a professional musician on the trombone, and after several years, she has retrained to become a lawyer. 20 years later, she was the head of legal, regulatory, and corporate governance and faster payments and PayM, the UK's online and mobile payment systems. In 2018, she has co-founded a fintech company, Ordo, which is an open banking product which enables request for payment services, which makes getting paid easy. Ordo puts people in control of their finances, which allows instant money transfer and real-time notifications. Fliss has made sure that Ordo is easy to use for everyone and has low cost. And we have Ievgen Iugrinov. I hope I pronounced it well. Ievgen is
That's right, yes.
Good. Ievgen is a product manager, leader with a technological and entrepreneurship background in an extremely fast-paced environment, which is financial markets. He's dealing with both traditional and crypto products. Ievgen is crafting the vision and rolling cross-functional teams to deliver innovative, customer-focused enterprise solutions. And he's our crypto expert today on the panel.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be on the crypto side today.
And allow me to say a couple of words about myself as well. My name is Viktoria Soltesz. I'm the founder of the payment consulting firm PSP Angels, which helps online businesses optimizing their payment flows and costs by finding the best payment and banking solutions. I also run my finance and tax consulting firm in Cyprus for over 14 years now, and I have experience with high-risk industries mainly, and I used to work as a chief financial officer with various fintech and e-commerce companies. I used to lecture at the University of West London as well, and I'm also a member of the director chambers. So welcome everyone. I think we have a really good group of experts here where we can touch all the interesting parts of the payments today. So let's jump in it. Guys, we are all in payments. Why is it so hard to find your way around this maze? What is happening with the payment industry as of today based on your experience? Who would like to start?
Why don't I give it a go? So I guess, as you mentioned in your introduction, I started life out as a musician. So there was a time when I wasn't a payments geek, which is what I am now. And I think payments is very detailed. I'm a lawyer now. So from a legal and regulatory perspective, there is a lot of detail that goes on, and it is only for a small niche of people that are interested in that kind of stuff who read all about it. And so from my perspective of being in faster payments, it can get quite geeky, and you need to be a bit of a nerd to understand all of the regulation and the legislation around it. So that's from one perspective. Until recently, the other perspective, I guess, where consumers and businesses touch payments is then from the competitive user side. Until recently, that wasn't very open and market driven, and there weren't fintech solutions that businesses and consumers hopefully find useful. It was the banks ran a payment system and the banks owned that payment system, and it was just the plumbing. But now that has been shaken up with payment systems having competitive obligations on them, and that being held to account by a regulator. So that has opened up the market for tech companies like all of us to be able to provide solutions that can genuinely help businesses and consumers. And so this has now all become fun and exciting, but it's still a bit nerdy.
That's right. That's right. What do you think about this, Ievgen?
I do think that all the issues and problems that Fliss mentioned made us to make our crypto payment processing company, especially because of those reasons. And nowadays it's very hard to open any bank account or so. We have a separate department that on a daily basis opening the bank accounts like PSPs, AMIs, and because you don't know what's going to be in a couple of years or even tomorrow with the banking systems and so on. Some banks are, due to regulation, stopping opening these bank accounts. Some of them are not accepting any clients due to the COVID issues and so on. So it's a really hard issue, and this is where the crypto comes into a game. Like this is where we can help each other, because there is no central authority, nobody is in control of it, and no need to have like an intermediary in between to pay years as central banks or any like a payment processing company and so on. It can be easily used like as a peer-to-peer.
That's right. That's right. How about you, Anton? What is your intake on this?
I agree actually with Evgeny, because regulation is always matters, of course, but I think the industry is ready to provide the new technologies, but the regulation has not yet ready for this, because nobody wants to take the whole responsibility for this process and explain to people how this industry can help them to serve their customer needs. So our idea is actually to discuss the way how we can gather and combine all these solutions together with regulations, and the way to provide the best practice solutions to the business, to the market, in order to satisfy the market and the current situation with the payments, so everyone can use this technology. Transparency matters, of course. Regulation matters, but all this needs to be aligned.
Right. How about you, Tom?
It's an interesting one. About 6 months ago at Vacuumlabs, we changed our website and the way we got tone of voice, and we started to talk about ourselves as being guides. And you know, that's kind of what we're talking about here. You know, you need somebody to help you wade through all the treacle. If you look at the least complicated solutions, you can whack in PayPal as a payment service provider or Stripe, and they're kind of, you know, there's very few one-stop shops. But the reason we have to guide people through is the value chain or the suppliers, you know, all the way through from this, not just your payment gateway, your acquirer, your merchant bank account. You've then got KYC, AML, PEPs. You could end up with 10, 20 suppliers within your chain, which is expensive to bring together. It's complicated to navigate. It means lots and lots of commercial agreements, lots of operational challenges. And it's a tough balancing act for a startup versus a big corporate to, you know, where should I go? Should I pay more and have a clunky experience with PayPal? Should I use Stripe and probably pay more and be a bit limited on my, you know, the way users interact with my product? Or do I want to go and use all these various suppliers and have my own compliance team and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it is complicated. I think it will get less complicated in 2021 as people start to there's a lot of payments orchestration platforms cropping up now. So yeah, complicated, getting better. Get yourself a guide is my advice.
Yes. I mean, we are payment consultants. We are dealing with startups and new businesses on a daily basis. And for some reason, if you don't have the payment expert on your team, is just an absolute nightmare to find the right payment provider for yourself, optimize the costs, open the bank account, as Ievgen mentioned. It's almost an impossible challenge. So what we see is when you just starting up, it's really hard for the startups to find the right payment service providers and banking products. But there are so many other issues. There are a lot of responsibility on the payment product, the payment service providers to actually comply from a regulatory perspective. So that could be also a huge challenge when you are applying for a payment service provider product that maybe you have to pay for this price. What are the other issues that you think that you're facing on the day-to-day work within your company? How about you, Anton?
From my perspective, at least it will be my opinion regarding our company. So we started our digital transformation. So this is a hyper trend. So yeah, everyone talking about digital transformation. But what does really that means? So from our perspective, we started working from internal communication, first of all, and then external communication, how we reach out to our customers, how we serve their needs, how we actually work with them, and how we communicate. Because as we mentioned before, this is quite complicated to get the bank account, to open the account for the companies, especially with a specific type of business. And it's our mission to make this process more simple, make it faster, more obvious and transparent. So we know the timeline and we know just few steps that this business needs to close actually the steps in order to open the account or get the account for PSP, for payment service provider, in order to accept the payments or any other financial services products. So we know that transparency matters, and we're working on transformation, our internal process, to make this process even obvious for us, make it faster, make it more clear without any routine operations, that and automate as much as possible. This is just a simple step that will help us, our customers, to understand what do they need to in order to open their financial products in their company. And then another step, which is important, how we communicate with them, how we deal with them, and the way we reach out and provide our services, especially if we're talking about the global solutions.
Yes, I agree. So what are your thoughts, Fliss? What is Ordo's clients' biggest issue at the moment, in your opinion?
Well, our clients' biggest issues, they've got, there are issues around cost of our clients, so our businesses and any channel partners we have, the cost of receiving payment, the time cost of reconciling payments when payments land in your bank account with gas bill, and British Gas receives millions of payments with the reference gas bill. The time people spend in reconciling payments. We did surveys recently which showed us that 1 in 5 small businesses don't know how much receiving payment is costing them, because there's often a percentage of the transaction price that they have to pay, plus there might be monthly subscriptions, plus the cost of hardware for taking card payments, and that businesses spend nearly 10 hours a week on payments and payments admin and reconciling. Those problems have always been there, but they're now even more heightened and exaggerated in a time of pandemic and coronavirus, when businesses are already stretched. They've got a number of challenges. They're either now trying to move completely online, or they're trying to deal with significantly lower customer volumes. Spending 10 hours a week on reconciling payments, and 1 in 5 businesses not knowing how much it's actually, what their actual business costs are, is not going to cut the mustard almost. Businesses need to get on top of those sorts of things and really drill down on the numbers and find technology solutions that will help them be more efficient and better for their customers and their own businesses generally, but even more so in the middle of a pandemic that we're all hopefully now finding the light and trying to get out of. So those are the main challenges amongst some others that I could bore you with.
Yes, I remember back in the days when I was an accountant, the reconciliation is still haunting me in my dreams. I remember I spent so much time on that. I mean, Tom, you're in the UK as well. Is it the same challenge that you are facing because you're more into a B2B environment, or is there something else that you think that could be mentioned as the biggest issue for your industry, your clients?
Yeah, I think I agree with Fliss on the small business side. I think that's very true. And also, you know, we live in a bit of a bubble in fintech land, and you know, I think it's been really surprising how many people weren't, you know, how many retailers weren't doing omni-channel, how many people weren't ready to accept digital payments. We thought everybody was doing it, but actually it was, you know, quite a small percentage. I think the day-to-day, I'm helping startups and banks design you know, nice payment flows and banking solutions. And I think the biggest issue that I come across is that there's a massive gap between what a startup or even a scale-up is able to do and what they want to do. And so, you know, most of them, when they want to deliver a really great customer experience, they find, you know, you need to be PCI compliant, you need to bring in all those different suppliers that I mentioned in order to make your desired user journey work. So there's always a compromise and a trade-off between, you know, should I open user accounts? Well, that's going to be nice and fraud-free, and it enables you to do a sort of a peer-to-peer model. Should I can I aggregate this money myself? People don't realize that they need to be regulated as a retailer or as a service business in order to collect payments. So for me, the biggest problem is there's no platform that enables people to build the experiences they want whilst keeping the regulatory and compliance issues at an arm's length. So there's always a compromise.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, I think, Ievgen, because you're dealing with more of the crypto side of the business, I think your clients have a completely different challenge that to overcome. What do you think about
you
that?
know, usually our clients have the same problems that the fiat markets do, plus some issues or challenges, let's call them challenges with the regulation regarding the crypto, because it's not yet really forbidden and not allowed. So it's somewhere in between, and this is what we are trying to figure out and bring our ideas and how does it work, and to educate even the regulators what to do with such a thing and how does it work. And the biggest issue that not really not many people understand how does it work and what it works really. And but it becomes better and better, and already we have integrated a few KYT technologies that help us a lot with their regulations to follow their guidelines. KYT, it's like a KYC, but in terms of transactions, know your transactions, KYT. So it identifies if this transaction came from dark market, those money were stolen from some exchange. There are a lot of examples like that, and so on. So the main challenge in crypto, it's regulation and mass adoption. And from the fiat side, it's all the same problems that you guys have and your clients. It's very hard to open really a bank account nowadays, and it's not like even 3 or 5 years ago. It changed dramatically, and this is what this problem actually made us to make our product, and this problem is a solution for us, and the product for us is a business for us. So that's what we are trying to find out, and to make these two markets work together, the fiat and crypto, all together in a legal way.
Yes, for some reason, the crypto and the blockchain is still associated in many heads with something which is fraudulent, because back at the day, it was some people used
exactly
that. And this is obviously not good for the mass adoption, as you mentioned.
Not really, you know, let's face it, those people who spend some money on ICOs and in those 70s or 18s and so on, but those ICO and those projects made everybody know what is Bitcoin. Like there is no any people no people that don't know what does it mean Bitcoin, what it's used for. So it does kind of promotion, but unfortunately there are some bad players that did a bad reputation for it. And this year I see that there is no any kind of problems with it anymore, because people already understood what does it mean, the crypto, its purpose, how does it work, like in general. Because huge companies in this industry, like Binance, crypto processors, exchanges, they are educating people, and those rumors with the Libra as well, it helped a lot, even if it's not working right now. With the Telegram Ton token as well. Right now, the PayPal comes into this game with its millions of potential customers and everything like that. It will help us a lot for future. And the mass adoption, it's not happened yet. We are on the stages where we do only diving deeper into this crypto market. The crypto market is a very new market. Bitcoin, it's 11 years old baby only. So we are dealing with the technologies that it's really new.
I agree, and that was a fraud. I'm sure that you remember when the customers get fraudulent email invoices for about 150 millions of fraud back in last
crazy.
year.
Yeah,
Is there any alternative? I mean, Fliss, help me out. How do businesses make it easy for their customers to pay? I mean, talking about your business, Ordo, how do you make it easier for them? How much does it cost to them? How we can make their life easier?
Yes, so you're right. Fraud is a real problem, and there are many elements of it. But the invoice fraud that you're talking about is where a business emails out their invoice, and typically the customer or client will be making a bank transfer to settle that invoice. That's kind of a clunky process. It relies on the client and customer getting that email, having the time to deal with it. If they don't have time, remembering to come back to it, typing in bank account details, putting in the reference, getting the amount right. There are lots of points where a customer isn't in the right frame of mind, or might make a mistake, or just can't be bothered to deal with that payments admin whilst they've already had their hard day at work probably already. So there are many points along that flow where it could fall down and the business doesn't get paid that it needs to be paid. And then from the fraudulent aspect, the invoice gets emailed out and fraudsters hack into emails that have got words like payment, invoice, bill, payment needed, and they'll change the account number to the account number of their own, lucky them, and then the loyal customer or client pays, and of course the fraudster gets paid and not the business. And we've heard about stories like that at Ordo. I mean, there are many in the media that gets reported. It's quite often solicitors requesting deposit money for houses. We had an anecdotal story about a gardening company, a community group were paying for some gardens to be renovated, and it was a joint project between a community group and the council. And the gardening company sent out its invoice to the council and the community group. The council paid. The community's email attaching the invoice was intercepted. The community group paid, but the fraudster got paid. And so that leaves the community group's budget is gone. They've paid, they've lost that money, and the gardener has also not been paid. So you end up with two innocent victims. So what Ordo does to solve that and solve the fraud, minimize the fraud, and make it easy for the customer to pay, so it's more likely for the business to get paid, is use open banking. So it joins up and makes it a digital end-to-end process, making a bank transfer, rather than having all those holes and drop-off points for allowing the customer to pay. And it's end-to-end encrypted, so that the email invoice is unlikely to be intercepted. So the customer and client, when you pay, you're certain you're paying the right person. we play back to the payer the exact name of the account they're about to pay. So if someone has set up a fraudulent account in the name of HMRC and you're expecting a bill from a gardening company, you're probably unlikely to pay that. And it's a red flag, an alert, do not pay this, something's gone wrong. Which needs to be in that bank transfer environment. So Ordo minimizes the risk that an email invoice has been intercepted. It ensures the customer is paying the right person, and they can pay, they'll get instantly notified when they've received a bill, and within a few taps they can have paid the bill directly from their bank account to the business's bank account. So it also makes it easy for the customer to pay, and they're less likely to fall out of that process.
That sounds amazing. Yes, we are using all these new technologies, right? And you mentioned the open banking. Anton, how do you use the open banking? What is your understanding of the new technology? How you make the most out of that new technology?
That's amazing theme, yeah. So open banking is a hyper theme. Again, it's raising year by year. So we're expecting this market will be growing dramatically in the next 2-3 years. And it's making exactly transparency to the financial services and the communication between them, because this is not only the matter of transactions and wire transfers. This is also a matter of how people will manage their funds, their transactions, bank accounts, how they manage their wealth management systems, and how they're approaching the communication to the banks, to the payment systems, to insurance companies, maybe even to retail. How do they communicate? Because open banking actually provides the wide opportunity to enable access to the financial data. And for sure, this is strictly regulated. Yes, of course, this is always as usual, but I support this. It opens the opportunity actually for business to enable smart onboarding. Let's say if you open a few accounts, bank accounts somewhere in different banks, and you want to gather all this information in one place, so one application might have the license for this in order to gather all your information, all your financial data from your banks, giving your permission, of course, and you can see the transparent picture how and where your funds actually going, to whom. You can see the destination to whom you are paying, and all these opportunities opening access to these management systems. So this is like kind of blockchain. So you will see all the situations with your funds and you can track this. This is very important. And it will be used for sure in retail, in insurance companies. Actually, you can verify anyone immediately. So if you order new financial product, or if you open the product with insurance, you just provide some information. It verifies you immediately because you opened already accounts and the system knows your data. This is future, I believe.
Yes, definitely. And how about you, Tom? How are you making the most out of this new technology? How is your company?
Yeah, I mean, we work on this constantly, and it's an exciting area. If it's okay, I just wanted to talk about the fraud bit really quickly as well, because I think everybody here, wherever you are on the screen, has a really role to play in combating it. And I think open banking is great for all the reasons we've just heard. I think crypto and blockchain means that you can put a contract in the middle of any payment process now. So you can make it feel a bit more like an escrow style solution. So you can only release those funds to the person requesting that invoice or somebody buying something after some conditions have been met. So delivery, it's been inspected, whatever it is. My former business, ShieldPay, did this. So we held your invoice payment in escrow until we'd verified the people at the other end. And all of this, all of these solutions can come together. I think the reason it hasn't been tackled is that number, 114.1 million, seems big to us. To the banks, it's nothing. It really is nothing. So until that's hitting billions and billions and billions, no one's going to really make a serious effort to stop it. On the open banking front, I think everybody's really covered it. But I mean, it's lovely to be able to ping money around quickly and cheaply. I think the real value is in, as everybody said, it's assessing customers not only to verify their identity, but also to look at things like mental health and transactions, other patterns of poor behaviour there, gambling. There's all sorts we can do with this for good, as well as for commerce.
That's right. But the question is that what's the cost, right? Because as a consultant, I can see the businesses have a great difficulty managing the cash flows and costs when it comes to payment and banking services. But what do you think, guys? Are the clients cost sensitive when it comes to banking, or because they are lacking of knowledge, they take what they can and they pay for it because they are forced to do so? What do you think about that? I don't know, Ievgen, how are your clients reacting to the cost aspects of your services and the products?
They're acting perfectly, and they're very happy because it's much more cheaper than traditional finance in a few times. And there is a reason for it. And besides that, the fee that you're paying for proof of work. So these payments get actual people that are working on the technology. They are miners. They are deserving, So it's not just kind of tax or so. And the fee is much less than in traditional finances, as mentioned. For example, in order to merchant open the account and accept cryptocurrencies as the payment method, for incoming transaction, we charge 0.5%. And there is a ladder according to the volumes. It could be decreased up to 0.05. Like in traditional finance, you can't propose your customers such a thing, only in crypto. And one more word regarding the open banking, it could be a kind of bridge between financial markets, traditional financial markets, and the crypto. Because the idea behind open banking is the same idea that blockchain was based on from the very beginning. And we are all on the same page, and we are all saying that the future is about transparency and so on. And the open banking, it could be a good bridge between all the central banks, EMIs, PSPs, and crypto processing companies, exchanges, hedge funds, and so on.
Yeah, Tom, you've got extensive experience regarding payment service providing the products. Are you not threatened by the crypto and how cheaply people can move money around and how quickly, as opposed to the traditional payment service provider methods?
No, we work in crypto as well. I think there's a few hurdles for crypto to overcome. One is, you talked about it, there's a fair amount of dodgy things going on with crypto, but there's a fair amount of dodgy things going on with real cash. So it's not crypto's fault. I know people are being paid their salaries in crypto. It's breaking into e-commerce. So we added in it's a new payment method like any other. So it sits alongside open banking. It can sit alongside traditional card payments. I think it's interesting at the moment. There's lots of people just opening up crypto wallets and whacking a Visa or MasterCard card on there, and you're kind of thinking, what's this for? I mean, it's nice to be able to have somewhere to keep your pocket money, I guess, but I don't understand where that's going. But I think we're going to start to see a lot more crypto checkouts on e-commerce sites, and we're already seeing that. And I think you're also going to see people doing clever things, doing automatic conversions between fiat and crypto. So it'll, where it needs to get to, I think, is a seamless experience where you don't know that you're paying with Bitcoin. You're just paying out of your wallet, and you've made some decisions early on, and it'll do that conversion for you. So I'm really positive about it, and I think us old people in payments are looking at the younger people going, oh, what's all this crypto stuff about, and actually let them get on with it. It's great.
Yeah, it's everything which is making our life easier. It is great, isn't it, right? Anton, you wanted to add something previously. Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, it's okay. Actually, I wanted to add a few notes to what was Ievgen saying, because our topic is about the future of the payment ecosystems. And I believe the future is that we will literally build those ecosystems in order to help young companies, innovators, startups, and such companies who is bringing to the market the value, help them with the financials. So we will, the approach should be, in my opinion, that building the entire ecosystem, whether it's card issuing, whether it's payments, whether it's business account. So the idea is to make this ecosystem, and of course, it's worth it if you will find one solution, one business solution that will allow you it will allow you access to all those services. For sure, young companies cannot build everything from the scratch. So as a short term is a collaboration, of course, with such as companies who provide the new modern technologies and communicate with them and collaborate. So this is the idea, to build the ecosystems literally.
Yes, definitely. And then since you have launched your own startups, you know exactly what are the main the startups facing. Go on, Tom.
Sorry, yeah. So I wanted to name drop a startup I've been working with. So I've been working with two companies, one called Eskaroo and one called Melifex, and they have come together to bring a smart contract and a payment system, again based around sort of an escrow solution, so people can now fundraise and crowdfund directly for their own startup ventures. So crowdfunder, but with crypto and a smart contract in place. So only when you've received your investment or you've met some milestones that the money will be released. So that's a great example of, you know, that's live now. That's a great example of where it's going.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Fliss? How is Ordo taking advantage of this?
I think there is a move, as Anton was saying, about transparency and people and companies being able to aggregate their data and knowledge and where their systems are. In the UK, open banking has been largely taken up so far with the AIS. There's lots of horrible acronyms in finance and payments. So account information services, and that is exactly where Anton was saying you can have this one place where all your financial information is, and that can be shared across various different platforms, and that enables businesses to be assessed for loans and get much needed cash flow, for example, much quicker. And I agree with that, and the moving on the transparency theme and then being able to combat fraud, I think is where the PIS, the payments initiation side of things, can come in and is beginning to now pick up and accelerate within open banking. And that being complete transparency of where your money is going to and who you're paying, and that counteracts the ensuring you're paying the right account and so on. And I think it does mean people want more control of their money. So if you make a bank transfer, the money's gone at that point. So if you pay for your plumber 80 quid, then it's gone out of your account. 2 days later, when you want to go for after work drinks, in those times when we used to go into the same place to work and meet together, you know that 80 quid has gone from your account, and whatever's in your account is then yours to spend, rather than if you were to have paid that on a card, that money takes a few working days to be debited from your account, and it just means people don't know where they are. It's that lack of transparency, lack of a level playing field. And then on the business side, it takes a while for them to be able to get access to that money in cleared funds so they can carry on running their business and buying their supplies and whatever else it means to them. So I think all of this new technology, people need to become more familiar with it, because people are often nervous about technology and they're often nervous about finance. So we're putting those two things together. People are going to be extra nervous, but it is for the greater good. It does give greater transparency. It allows people to know exactly where they are with their finances. It will help people and businesses manage their money more. It is all moving in the right direction and is for the greater good, as it were.
That's right. And I remember I had a chat with one of my clients back in the day, and we discussed that, yes, it's 2020, but the SWIFT network still takes 3 to 5 days to clear. So where is the money in between? And meanwhile, we can talk to each other on the internet instantly. We're all over the world. The money still needs to travel days until it reaches the destination account. So that's obviously one part that we are heading at when we are mentioning the current trends in banking, to speed up the procedures and just to speed up the clearing time. But what are the other current trends in banking, in your opinion, Anton? How is your company taking advantage of these new current trends? How are you leading the way forward?
Well, this is the way how we're trying to build our products. So understanding the pain of our customers and discussing with them. So of course, we're working with, if we're talking about single euro payments area, so that's easy. So SEPA instant like payments, or it's quite simple, and it will transfer your funds immediately, yes. But in terms of transatlantic wire transfer, so it takes time and it's really pain. So we're trying to understand this, and that's why we're trying to be global. So we're providing our solution globally, and we're trying to establish and develop our solution locally in different regions in order to deliver those payments faster. So that's obviously it's more, it's worth more in order to send money from Europe to North America or Brazil or somewhere, of course. So better to provide the local solutions. This is the one way. What about trends? So basically, we understand that there are many ways how and we can build our products, but we also understand that artificial intelligence, this is the next step that we will bring to our company for sure. This is my idea and my plans. So I dream about, currently this is the time of the data, and this data might be used in order to accelerate the industry, accelerate the certain topics that we can use, and it will bring the additional value to our products. So we will understand how user behaves, where they send money, where they settle their funds, from where they're accepting funds, and analyzing those information, we will be able, within helping through artificial intelligence, understand the needs actually and our approach, how we will build this and how we will do this, all this stuff.
Right, yes. Yeah, again, I understand that obviously with crypto, everything is instant or almost instant.
Yes, exactly. That's not an issue for crypto at all. So like we have tested, in 6 minutes you have your transaction almost everywhere. Some currencies even faster, some slower. The only issue with the speed of the transaction in crypto, it's when we comparing credit card payments with the, let's say, Bitcoin payments, because like Visa or MasterCard, they're processing like 2,000 transactions per second. In crypto, in Bitcoin, let's say, you're processing 8. So, but that's the issue just for now, and later on, of course, it's going to be much more faster. There are some faster coins, let's say Ripple, almost immediately in a minute you have got everything. It could be used, but with this it's a bit off topic. It's a centralized cryptocurrency, and Bitcoin is decentralized. It's two completely different things. So, but yes, cross-border payments for crypto, it's a strong side.
Yeah. Tom, what are the other current trends in banking? I mean, we mentioned the crypto, we mentioned the open banking. In your opinion, what are the other parts of the banking industry which speeded up because of the pandemic, so because of the technological advances?
So I think there's a few things going on here. I mean, first of all, the challenger banks, the digital banks, have done a wonderful job at doing all of the customer research and feature development for the main banks, and they're very grateful, I imagine. They've just taken all those features and replicated them. I think what we're seeing is a shift to, and I think the banks need to look at real, true personalization for their customers. There are lots of groups, tribes of people who are excluded or just aren't being served in the way they should. And what I mean by that is I think you'll start to see more brands. It could be football clubs, it could be the Firemen's Union. I think you'll start to see these people offering their own financial services. I think that will then lead to hyper-personalized products. So credit union loans within there, cashback deals. You know, if it's a small business bank account, it could have fuel discounts, whatever it is. So I think we're going to start to see that, and I think the banks are either going to have to, the big banks who are launching their own digital products are either going to have to start to segment their customers better and look at what they need. You know, it's not a one-size-fits-all society anymore. Just offering, you know, lounge access at the airport and mobile phone insurance isn't what people need. I think they need real value and real solutions. So yeah, I don't know who's going to win. I don't know whether the banks are going to win or whether the white label banking platforms are going to win. But I think this is the year we're going to see them really lock horns and fight it.
That's right. And the focus is always on the customer, right? Because at the end of the day, all these products and services are for one purpose only, to make the customers and the business users' life much easier. Fliss, You are a lawyer, so from the perspective of thinking as a lawyer, what do you think? Where are we heading now? What is the future when it comes to payments and banking?
So I think I am a lawyer. Sorry about that. We've really taking off now. The CMA backs that up, the Competition and Markets Authority, compelling the 9 biggest banks in the UK to actually implement what PSD2 required. And so now we are really at the cutting edge of that still, and Ordo is working with all the banks to make sure their endpoints are workable, because it's all very well having legislation and regulation and then even the CMA order backing that up, but we need it practically to work, and it's got to work reliably. So over the coming year, I'd say the banks really need to get on top of providing what they are required to provide in an efficient and robust service, such that when you want to make an open banking payment, it just works without thinking about it, which it does largely at the moment, but not all of the time. So that needs to get more reliable and more consistent. More banks need to get in on the open banking protocols and standards, so that fintechs like Ordo and like all of us others here and many more can also interlock and provide and interconnect our services. And then I think what's to come is then what's on open banking's roadmap. So variable recurring payments, for example. So that's where there's a regular payment, but it might differ. So your utility bills, that's a good example, where it might be a different amount every month, or different kinds of subscriptions. It used to be where you'd set up a direct debit, which direct debits and that platform is from the 1980s now. We're all moving on. Everything is done instantly now. Communication is done instantly. You can do instant payments. Like you were saying, why do you have to wait 3 days for a direct debit to go through? Why do you have to wait a week to set up a direct debit? And people are becoming less and less tolerant of setting up those sorts of clunky mechanics, and also giving away control of that payment. Why should a business be able to pull money out of your account when everything else I can control? I can control my data and what phone contract I have month by month, and I can switch it around whenever I want. I don't want to have to sign up to these long-term direct debits. So and the new payment systems architecture, the MPA, is going to be coming in, and there can be lots of indirect overlay services onto that ultimately mean there can be more flexible, direct and dynamic products available. You can tailor them, as Tom was saying, to people's needs, to very small amounts. And people are going to want that, and to be able to switch it off and on when they choose.
Yes, and finances are always a sensitive subject. I mean, we are talking about handling other people's money, so this should be the pinnacle of the technology when we are talking about handling funds and executing payments. Anton, what is on the roadmap for 2021 for you? What is that you're working towards? What are your new developments? What can we see from your end in the next year?
You mean from our company? Or
yes. What are the future?
From our company, we will for sure continue developing improving our payment products to make them stable, transparent, deal with the fraud transactions, of course, making this more reliable solutions. So because this process never ends. And for sure, we will continue working with open banking technology, and we'll start working with artificial intelligence, with analyzing data in order to make the personalized products. Because this is also quite important, and will be the trend for sure. I agree with Tom. And we will work with the marketplaces, because those companies and such type of companies and products, they are raising up, especially in Brazil region and in Latin region, specifically. So we will work with those products as well, providing the payment solution for them.
Nice. So there are lots of exciting products ahead.
It will not. We will not have 1 year to finish all this stuff.
That's right. There's always, everything is changing in this industry. That's why it's so
exciting. You never know.
Exactly. Mainly when we are talking about crypto, right? Ievgen, crypto world is always changing every day. We've got some news. So what are your plans for the future?
We will blow the market. Definitely. But on honestly speaking, what we are trying to achieve is to combine two markets in one platform, fiat and crypto. So we already went this way, and we are looking into the fiat licenses in UK, in Europe. Also, we have got the EMI one. And we already started the process of building everything under one roof, in one platform. And the near future will come up with the full circle of solutions from fiat to crypto, crypto to fiat, fiat to fiat, and so on. And it's growing, and it's supposed to be much more flexible and easy to use. The harder thing in crypto, it's very difficult to make complex things simpler. And this is our aim, and this is what we do. We are doing the crypto payments, simplifying crypto payments. So I hope in the next year or so we'll do this.
Great, and I wish you all the luck to blow the market, as you said.
We will. Take my word. It's good that we are speculating about the future. You know, in a year we can record this video, and then we can check what we were saying and how was our forecast. You know.
Definitely, that's a great idea. And closing up, Tom, what are your tips and hints for the future? What are your ideas about closing up this panel? What are the closing thoughts here?
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting, and thank you for having us. We work on Vacuumlabs. We'll be continuing to develop for our clients. So lots of open banking, lots of challenger banks, crypto. We're focusing a lot on Cardano at the moment. So we'll carry on with that. We've got some really exciting stuff coming up in January. But I think we're now working on some projects, including things like carbon offset calculators that work with bank accounts to analyze your transactions and give you the opportunity to offset your carbon, or do that at a checkout as well. We've just launched as a business our own, we put our money where our mouth is, and we've launched our own digital challenger bank in the US, focused on the LGBT community. And off the back of that, we now have our own sort of bank in a box platform that we'll be taking out to those sort of tribes and individual groups that I mentioned before. And I think that's, I think that's a bit of the trend for next year is going to be FinTech for good, trying to, particularly for the millennials and Gen X people, they don't want to consume these horrible corporate products in the same way. So FinTech for good, responsible lending. I think credit's going to get a bit of a beating, especially buy now, pay later, and we're going to see that tightly regulated, and those hyper-personalized, super sexy products for consumers.
Nice. So exciting times ahead, right? So yes, I really hope that we can meet up in a year's time and talk about the same questions again with 1 year ahead and more experience on that. Thank you very much for everyone who participated in this panel, and thank you for everyone who was watching us. Thank you so much, and stay tuned. Maybe we can come back in a year's time. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Stay healthy.
Bye.
Bye.